y'all? It's your girl, Lady Luck, and I'm here with the homie Big Wall, and you are now tuned in to Address the Culture, where we're addressing everything in the culture. Keep it locked.
Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come address the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come address the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come address the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come and address the culture, huh?
Brick by brick, this is Address the Culture. Big Wall's not here, but he's here in spirit. But this is PStock, and we got another great Address the Culture show tonight. Hey, we have the Legacy 9 wrap-up. Great event. You know, if you've been watching Address the Culture and following, you know, we've been doing the legacy events. You know, we have all these great FMA and martial artists come on the show and talk about the background, and they make appearances. Grandmaster Darren TIBON's here to lead us on through it, you know, like he has been. You know, so Legacy 9 was the event this past September in Las Vegas. Another great event. It's up to 9. So that's how they do it. So we got a great wrap-up show for that tonight, leading on to the next season of the FMA artists and what's coming on forward, what's coming up next. Big shout out to Aladdin 19, Big Wall, and everything going on. This is Address the Culture, and we do have Brother Darren TIBON in the house. What's going on, D? You know, long time no see, but we here. It's back.
Long time no see, bro. But it's always good to come on this show. And I had 4 guys that I've connected with. I think 2 might be having some problems getting in right now. But we have Master Jerry PRECIADO able to get in, and we got SIFU HARINDER SABHARWAL. He's in too. So, hopefully Professor HUNDON and Namaho, you know, end up getting in this show. But hey, this is great right here. And first of all, PStock, it's good to see you again, brother. It's been a while. And we've had some really amazing shows, you know. What shows we did, you know, film. But the Icon show was the last. And wow, that was an amazing show.
Yeah, that Icon show was incredible. You know, that was a couple great series of shows that you put together and brought forward, and that was great.
Yeah, but you know, what we did September 2nd, 2022, Legacy Las Vegas 9 was fantastic. And we have a couple of the headliners here on the show, and we're going to talk about that. And we're hoping for a great Legacy 10 too that's scheduled for September 2nd of this year. And we're just going to pick and choose what location that we will have this event on, and then we're going to get it out there. But hey, I'm happy to have Jerry PRECIADO and HARINDER SINGH on the show today. And
yeah, that's big.
It feels good. It's been a long time, a couple of months, you know, since we got to film in the show. So I'm happy.
And both been on the show that you know, they're not new, especially HARINDER. SIFU's been on a few times. And definitely check him out on the Black Belt podcast. You know, hit him up. You know, SIFU HARINDER, he be doing some big things over there at the Black Belt podcast. So hit him up over there. Tap in, follow him, subscribe, everything you're supposed to do. You know it. But what's happening, fellas? You know, the Legacy 9 event this September went off big, you know. SIFU HARINDER, I know you've been participating pretty regular in the event. Master Jerry, how about you? Was this your first one in a while, or was this your first one, or what's going on?
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been the first one to be able to attend, you know, down in Las Vegas. It was really it was a good show. It was surprising just to walk in there and not expecting as many people down there as that was attending, and really some great respectable. I can't really call them students because they're all trained in some form of martial arts. So they're really good people.
See, back when we first fired up the Legacy, you know, running tournaments, I had started doing Legacy seminars, and I know Jerry was in a couple of them, you know, before filming with Val really started. And we were having a blast running tournaments, you know, Disney, Stockton Legacy. We were doing Long Beach Internationals, and Jerry was a big part of that team, you know, helping that all go through too. But, you know, we had so much fun way back in the beginning, what led up to all of these legacies, you know, and Jerry got to see the beginning of that full board, you know, 6 years, 7 years of tournaments. But, you know, here we are, man, and I'm expecting to see Jerry at the next Legacy 10. You know, I want to see SIFU Harinder at the next Legacy 10. And we got a whole bunch of great guys, you know. I got to make that list, man. That's one of the hardest lists to make, you know. It's going to be fantastic, I guarantee you that.
Yeah, so, some of those lineups, the lineups have been great. And this year with Vegas, you was able to add the healers as well, which is even bigger to add to the whole event. And we're all waiting for Harinder to pop up in a movie. I'm waiting to see the movies come out. Harinder, what's happening?
But, you know, guys, 2 weekends ago, I attended Kaipo Tolasaga, a very good friend of mine's funeral. And this funeral, what happened is all the heads of Lua, all the heads of Lima Lama, and some of the top heads of even Ed Parker Kempo showed up. So it gave me an opportunity to meet a lot of not only just the martial art aspect, but the royal bloodline of Samoa and Hawaii attended his funeral. And even Michelle Manu showed up, okay? Everybody was there. People that I only really see at all the Masters Hall of Fames attended, but it's given me an opportunity to talk to a lot of these people. And a lot of these people want to come on this show. So these are people that I'm currently talking with too, and I'm trying to organize with that show too. You know, a fabulous lineage of the Lima Lama under the late, you know, Tolasaga, you know, amazing people. Palakanamahoi's whole connection of the Hawaiian martial arts, of what he's been connected to his entire life, you know. But in talking to people that I've been really good friends with, like Tasiawa and John Alphavon, you know, all cousins to, you know, Kaipo Tolasaga. But, you know, even John Tafala even told me, he was, you know, Darren in Samoa, I'm a high prince. So a lot of these Lima Lama martial artists, Hawaiian martial artists, they go back to royalty in Samoa and Hawaii. And this is why I want to create this show, so they could talk about this, talk about the history of the martial arts. And that would be amazing, you know, to have the opportunity to listen to the descendants, the top teachers of all these systems, talk about not only the martial arts, but where it's connected in the Hawaiian and Samoan royalty, okay? And I think they make out for a fabulous show too. So look forward to that show, PStock, and let's see if we can create that opportunity to make this happen.
That's a great show to have, you know. When you talk about that, like when we had a SIFU Steve on, you know, Muhammad, and he was talking about his history. That story was amazing when he was talking about he was driving down the street and he decided he was going into this school and he wanted to take real karate and the martial arts, and he went to the school, and it was Ed Parker's school. And he said his first teacher was Danny Anasato. I'm like, and then I was like, wow, you know, so to see that going back, and he said that was 1964. Yeah.
I'm at Kaipo's funeral, and I'm looking at a guy. Man, I've seen that guy someplace before. Where did I see him? And come to find out, this guy been on Magnum PI, okay, Hawaii 5-0, and he's just got one of those recognizable faces. You know, the guy played in many movies, and he's in, you know, security too, because security and he's a musician. So, you know, all of these musicians that are martial artists all got together at Kaiko's funeral, and they had a band up on stage, and they started jamming Hawaiian music. It was amazing, literally amazing. But the people who attended had Hawaiian royalty, bro. Samoa.
Make that show happen. Make that show happen. I mean, we've all been on, you know, Paso.
I met some really phenomenal people. It was mind blowing. It was sad, but then mind blowing and overwhelming at the same time. You know, to attend my friends' funeral like that. But yet the people that came in, you know, to pay respect. Like, you know, he come from a family of like 11 brothers and sisters, and I got to meet all of them too, and all the people that came, you know, in honor of Lima Lama, you know, and Kempo, Hawaiian Kempo. So it was a fantastic meeting. It was not only a funeral, but a gathering of all that Hawaiian martial arts all in one place. And it was mind-blowing. It really was. But I got to meet people and talk with people like I'd never really got to talk to them. You know, bro, I think I've done 6 or 7 inductions to the Masters Hall of Fame. I'm hosting my people. But when I look around, I see friends. Hey, how you doing? Quick handshakes. And then I go back to my people. Aaron, you've been to the Masters Hall of Fame. You've seen how big it is and all the different martial artists everywhere. Well, you meet people, but a lot of times you really don't get to sit down and talk to them. This show is giving me an opportunity to really talk to people. And that's what I love about this show. You know, I've seen Steve Muhammad at Hall of Fame. I think I've even seen Ron Van Cleef and other hospital at Hall of Fame. But when you're an ambassador and hosting the people that you inducted, you stay amongst your table, you know, and everybody starts talking. But then it doesn't give an ambassador time to go out and mingle and talk to all the other people. This show has changed that. It has for me. There's a lot of people that I've seen. I'm glad. Give me an opportunity to talk with them personally. And that's what I really love about this show.
I'm glad. And that's what the show is for, the platform to address the culture for everybody, you know. I mean, that we're everybody on this panel, everybody, you know, that comes through these shows was great. I enjoy them. I enjoy meeting you guys. You know, I see you guys on social media and on internet and everything doing stuff, and then to come on the show and talk to you is great. You know, I mean, and that's good because I'm going to share that with people that might not otherwise know who you are or what you do or anything about that culture. That's what my job is. My mission is to take that culture, whatever it is, whatever. Harinder, the Black Belt magazine. Check this out. There's a lot of guys. I believe it. A lot of guys that want to, you know, they study. They try to study martial arts in some form at this time, and I tell them, check out this show, check out these people. They're online. You know, you can reach out to these guys and get video one-on-one sessions and everything else, workshops, you know, virtual workshops, and maybe catch them near you. And that's what I do. I like to direct people to that. Direct people to that. Go check this. That one guy was bugging me a long time about you, Harinder. He said he's seen you on, I think, Black Belt magazine cover, and he's into, you know, in the martial art. And the guy, he's an IT guy, you know, and he grew up and he was like, man, he said, I told him about the platform. He was watching. He's seen you on there. He says, I know that guy. I kept saying, well, what guy you was talking about? Can't think of his name, but you know, he's bald head, right? And I'm thinking, who else? I said, that's Harinder. I'm like, yeah. He says, yeah. He said, I think I seen him in a movie, but he's on Black Belt magazine. And he was like, yeah, I seen it. So what shows, you know? So he was asking me specifically the shows so I could send them back to check the shows, and told him he has Black Belt magazine. I gave him, you know, told him your name, said, follow him on Facebook. And go from there, and then you link up everywhere else. So that's what I do. I direct people to the Facebooks to follow, listen, so to extend the culture. So that's what the platform, Address the Culture, is meant to be. and I'm glad you can come on and talk about it.
For sure, man. It's a great honor. No, it's a great honor to be here. Sorry to cut you off. It's a great honor to be here as always. PStock, Grandmaster Darren TIBON. You know, you guys. I think it's such an important thing to sit down and talk about. You know, like GM TIBON, you were saying earlier, you meet people in seminars and things, and maybe you get the chance to learn from them. But when you get a chance to sit down and talk to somebody, and you get a chance to hear their story a little bit, and you get a chance to hear the intentions, the training, the things they went through, and you realize how much more we're so alike in the things that we do. There's a unique community. You know, we have this community of martial artists all around the world, and many different styles, systems. Even here, one of the best things about Legacy that Grandmaster TIBON has put together, and it was great meeting Master PRECIADO, is you get to see so many people that are so accomplished, that have been around for a long time, from the OGs to the newcomers, and it's really phenomenal. It becomes very motivational, because you realize that the impact that martial arts has, not only on your self-confidence and how you present yourself and how you face the world, because it's not just about what's on the mats or what's happening like in training. It transcends, right? So as a martial artist, it's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle, and you get to meet other people that are like that, because at the end of the day, we're in the empowerment business. And I think the show that you guys have been doing, I've heard a bunch of episodes, it's really empowering and motivating, because you get to hear stories and people share their experiences. It makes them more human, and it makes you understand that, hey, oh man, I go through that. I realize that, oh, it builds a community to another level. And in this day and age that we're living in, we need that community more than ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the spurring out more collaborations and the growth of the arts, you know. I mean, because Yunt's guys on this panel right now, Yunt's guys are the tie-in to the new jacks, to the old school. You know, I mean, that's y'all. That's y'all job, y'all responsibility, and I'm just glad that Address the Culture and iHipHopTV and everything can come in and be a part of it. No, you know, that's big.
You know, about a week prior to Christmas, it was Master GM Sultano Dean, Jerry PRECIADO, Gabriel Assumption, and myself. We all had a gathering up in San Francisco. And, you know, when I started training under the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales, all these guys were there, you know. These were the seniors when I came in, and they were the guys that I chiseled my training with. So, you know, all of us coming back from 32 years ago, me and Jerry, you know, we've been around together. He's co-founder of AIM Disciples. I got to see Jerry a lot, but to bring in Master Gabriel Assumption and then have Sultani Dean, who's been in 2 legacies now, all us 4 together, you know, once looking at each other, maybe mid-20s, you know, and now we're all 60 and up. So, you know, to still have that brotherhood, that closeness, and see each other and get the smile, say, man, we're still alive for one, you know, and none of us getting younger. But to watch each other get to work out with other students that were there that came, and all of us sharing, you know, what we do, how we do it, it was amazing. We had a fabulous time. But, you know, time flies by fast. And guys that you knew when you were young, and then to see each other, you know, all these years later, and get on the floor and share. Bro, I'm addicted to that. I love that. So, you know, I want to bring in all these Serrata brothers that I came up with, stay true to the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales, and I want to work with them. I want to provide opportunities for all of us to, you know, get on the floor and share. Because, you know, you can have 5 guys that learn one art. The fundamentals are going to match. They always do. But the advanced concept, somebody has something that they favor in time. But to have that brought out from each and every master who trained under Angel Kabbalahs, that's a very unique opportunity for people to have access to. So I really want to open this up, with these Serrata masters under the late Grandmaster Angel Kabbalahs. And I believe Legacy 10 will be one of the focal points of that opportunity. I'm going to bring us forward together, bro. I want it. And I want to see this happen. Brother Sultan Dean, Master PRECIADO, Master Gabe Assumption, and me all in one room. We split a half hour. But it's the knowledge that was obtained all the years back and what it is today and how we represent it, the flavor of it. I want to give people the opportunity to experience that. And that's something else that I'm working on too. So look forward to that, Jerry. Let's look forward.
That's big. Looks like we got Dr. HUNDON trying to come in here. Is you down there, James? Can you hear us?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We can't see you though. You got to turn the camera on.
Oh my God. Let me see here.
You got to get the camera in there. Let's see you.
What's up, fellas? Hey, SIFU. Hey,
What's
Jerry.
good? What's good?
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm this technical stuff. I'm not good at. So,
come on, bro. You've been on a couple shows. You could get
let me see.
You got to turn that camera on. That's all. It looks like you got the. I don't know. Hard to say. The shutter. The shutter shouldn't even. That shouldn't affect.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Oh, wait.
There you go. Oh, there it is. You had it on the. You had to put it down. That's all. Oh man, that's a good one.
Oh, it's so great seeing everybody.
It's good to see you too.
Great to have you too. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good intro right there.
Hey man, Legacy Las Vegas 9 was a blast. It was a blast until you walked outside. Ooh, it was hot.
Oh, you melting weather, right?
That place was hot.
September. I'm surprised. Well, Vegas, September ended. That's still summer, I guess. It's not quite.
It was 116. It was 116 degrees driving home, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, it was hot.
I was saying to myself, don't get a flat tire because you will die of heat exhaustion trying to change that tire. Don't pop.
You're right. You're right. But yeah, that's great. Professor HUNDON as well he's been on the show a couple times. It's no mistake, and his legacy that he established and going forward, that he brings to the Legacy 9 event. This Legacy 9 event, Professor HUNDON, what did you carry away from that as well as everyone else?
The camaraderie with everyone. I mean, everyone was so open and willing to share and supportive, and just working together as a family, as a team. It was great. It was an awesome experience, and I had a blast.
That's big. That's big. So I mean, you should have brought the band and did a performance there. I guess you be getting down. You should be saying you be getting down. People who know, for those who don't know, but everybody on the panel knows, I'm sure. But,
yes, sir.
I introduced Professor HUNDON, Dame Sweetness HUNDON.
It was just awesome,
man. We all get together, man. We had a blast, man.
Yeah, we did.
I tell you, the only thing
one time a year.
The whole thing, that 30-minute time frame, that was just a little bit too fast. I mean, it seemed like by the time you stood up, you did two things, you sit back down again. That 30 minutes was more like about a 3-minute process.
I know. So you need more time, huh?
Yeah.
But you know what? We finished right on time as usual. I'm my clockwork, guys. You know, when I coordinate it, man, I got to keep time of everything. I got to put guys on deck. It finished right on time. Actually, 35 minutes early. So the event was beautiful.
And I think on the next one, if I was, I will attend, but I'm pretty sure I would eliminate a lot of the basics and go pretty much more into the advanced stage, so that they can get a little bit more out of it. I think some of that, a lot of them are already trained in the basic side of it, and just to give them everybody something to take back from what we did when we were coming up, not the basics, but let's go a little further into it, a little more aggressive, I would say. So be prepared for that on the next event.
That's it, man.
That's big. Well, pretty soon, if the growth keeps going, the event could turn into a 2-day event. You know, it's going to be getting bigger, where you could spread it out a little more and have sections and maybe a bigger venue. Depends on what you want. If you want to go a certain style or whatever system, go over here at this time.
I'll tell you the problem with that. You're going to lose the first wave. A lot of people, when they attend a big event like this, I notice they plan it out amongst family, and they want to hit attractions in whatever area that we host.
Yeah.
If we're going to host in SoCal this year, right? September 2nd is still the event. People want to work around that to take their families to, let's say, Universal Studios or Disney or something else. But I thought about it several times to go 2 days. But you talk about a long event. That's a long event, man.
Yeah, and I get that too.
To take that chance of, let's say, half the people stay the next day, and then you got 24 headliners. It's not fair sometimes for that second day because it's a Sunday.
A lot of people roll. Yeah,
a lot of people, man, they might not want to stick around. You know, how they schedule their flight, everything else. So I've stayed with 1 day all these years because of that. Maybe one day I might change that. But we're coming up on 10, and it's worked out 1 day, you know. But 25 minutes does fly by, 30 minutes flies by. I agree. Well, you could show a lot in that 25 minutes. Look at SIFU HARINDER. Look at Professor HUNDON, what they went through, and what I could go through with 30 minutes, you know. So I've heard it. I've thought about it. But 2 days, you talk about a day, man. That's a long day right there, bro.
Two long days.
I'll tell you the problem I will have if I try to host for 2 days. 50% are going to fight for the first day. Whoever I host, I guarantee are going to fight for that first day. It's a guarantee. I almost guarantee it. And then it'll become trying to host people on the second day. Ah, shit, he put me on the second day. I'd rather not hear that. I don't want to hear that. I just want to run it. Everybody on the same day. Boom, we hit it. We have a blast, and we get out. 2 day, I'm going to have that problem. I already have a problem. People, well, what order do you have me in? I got you 8th. 8th.
8th, yeah. You could do it like
that every legacy.
You could do it like we used to do in music when doing events where we were setting up Philly Blaze and all that. Give them tickets. Your position is by how many tickets you can sell. You know, if you can sell 2, you're first. You get to open up for the staff. You know, or the wanderers through and then move up. That's what they used to do for some of them events. You know.
I am open for suggestions on this part, but already getting ready to host 10. You know, it's worked, and most of all, it's worked for Val Magellan. Can you imagine Val having to film 2 days back to back? With Val, even one film 2 days back to back. That's tough, man. That's tough to ask from a film, you know. But now if Boodle Brothers showed up and they took the second day, that'd be a whole different story, you know?
The Budos, though, Canada's still playing tricks on them. So they're not even going to try to. They're not even going to try.
It ain't like
they
ain't thinking about it. I'm thinking about it.
They're not going to try to come down. But that's great. But there was something I wanted to bring up that I'd seen maybe yesterday, if I'm thinking maybe today. In the Philippines, they had opened up the full contact stick fighting leagues or whatever, you know, with it looked like they have cage helmets, like almost like the not fencing helmets, but you know, the samurai helmets whenever you be practicing. They got the same type of headgear and everything, but open. How do you feel about that? You know, they're trying to bring that up into the mainstream and push it like UFC, MMA, and leagues. We had a show about that with Apollo Lady.
Yeah, Apollo Ladre, Shashir and Akala, they're moving in their direction for Olympic. You know, there's several different. One of the oldest is WeCaf, and they're still active doing their thing. You know, Felix Royalist was out there, and he took first place in that. His whole squad, his team took it, and yeah, you know, there's so many different FMA organizations offering tournaments, and WeCaf got one of the biggest names out there. But there's also a lot of other tournament circuits with Apollo Ladre, and they're doing a phenomenal job too. So, you know, there's just not one stick fighting organization for international. They're all over the world now today. Okay, they're everywhere, all over the world. But it's the one that brings, I believe, the most notoriety, you know, and has the biggest press for the winners and fighters. I think that's what creates more people that want to come to something of the notoriety of the win. You know, what tournament? It's not just what tournament you fight in today. It's the exposure of that tournament that really creates the value of that tournament. And, you know, I'm willing to support several tournaments out there, but when you go watch some of these tournaments, these same rules were 30 years old. And instead of growing, it's like they stayed stagnant from rules 30 years ago. And they just limit the athletes' fighting abilities. They cut it down to basically 4 angles and 2 abanicos. You know, when I ran USFMAF, Jerry was part of that team. We allowed thrusting to the body. Had a weapon, we allowed thrusting to the face. Of course, it was waist on up, but target areas were knees and below, waist and above with thrusting. Now, I don't see too many tournaments doing that, even with padded weapons today. So if I'm going to build a team of fighters, and I ask my chapters, hey, man, you want to get your teams to go hit this tournament? I'm analyzing all the various tournaments available out there, and there really ain't too many that fit what we did with USFMAF, with Disney, Stockton Legacy, and the Long Beach Internationals. And people loved our tournaments, and it lived almost 7 years. So until I find something as good as what we built with USFMAF, I'm still not really seeing a whole lot of good FMA tournaments out there for me to ask my chapters, hey, man, let's hit this tournament. I have not seen one yet. So, you know, maybe my standardization is a little bit different. But if you got a padded weapon in your hand, why can't you thrust with it? How you going to hurt the guy with padded weapon thrusting? Okay? I allow thrusting with live stick, but we had a target area on the chest. It was above the waist. It was right on the vest that we used to put on our fighters. If you get out of that area, you're automatically disqualified. If you intentionally get out of that area, automatically disqualified. Nobody got hurt in all the years we did it, right, Jerry? Nobody got hurt.
Right.
People complied with the rules, and hey, it made out for a fabulous tournament. I want to see something like that today. And I believe Brother Claudio was working on that. What is FMA? But I think Claudio, he was pushing for knockout with the stick, a padded weapon, but can knock out.
Mm.
Let me see if Claudio is going to follow up something like that. Then maybe I can look into that. So, you know, it's optional out there.
The thrusting part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's big. So it looks like that was, you know, something that I could see it. I could when I seen the photo they had, I could visualize it.
Yeah.
Being on mainstream TV.
Yeah.
I mean, right now you turn on your TV, you got XFL football.
Yeah.
You know, that those time slots, XFL, then you're gonna have USFL and XFL going. You know, so why couldn't those time slots, you know, you can get in some FMA or some more martial arts in those prime time slots on the weekends. You know what I mean? And replace of NFL games, direct the attention of some of them football junkies into another sport and get them in there. You know, what do y'all say to that?
It's all good, man. Like I said, you know, first of all, how many organizations can you get to a tournament? You know, back when we were promoting USFMAL, we were on purpose boycotted from various organizations that followed various tournament circuits. They would boycott us. You know, when I first did Legacy for Hawaii, matter of fact, I was boycotted by the same organization. They were told to boycott Legacy 4. Well, a lot of guys crossed that picket line, bro, because they're men, and they said, hey, don't tell us what to do. We're going to do what we feel is good for us. And that's how I got so many different guys to come in Legacy 4 and Legacy 7. But there's a lot of politics still out there. I understand it. I've dealt with it. There is haters out there within my own art, Serrano Screamer. I deal with it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Something that just comes with trying to be professional in what we do. You're always going to have a hater out there on the field. And you just keep moving forward and doing what you do.
Yeah, yeah. That's big. That's big, you know. I mean,
yeah, I think not only the boycott portion of it, but I remember showing up at tournaments and they'd see who we were bringing, and they wouldn't want to fight. They would actually cancel, and they wouldn't even go in there to compete.
Yeah, I think things came a long way, but you're always going to have that group of people, you know, to try to politically ruin anything you're going through. I think that's human nature. Especially in this day and age, you know, no matter how good you try, you will have any haters, bro. Always go ahead. It is what it is, man. Just keep being you, keep moving forward, you know, and keep trying to do the best that you can do. And love what you do.
What about the climate, the martial arts, like Harinder, you're in the LA area, right? You're in the LA.
Sure.
Everybody else, Professor HUNDON, you're up in the Bay Area, correct?
Yes.
You're in the Bay Area, and Jerry and Darren are up north too. What's the difference? Like Harinder, is there a big difference in the climate or the atmosphere in the martial arts community in LA than it is in NorCal, Southern Cal versus NorCal?
No, I don't think so. I mean, of course, there's different things depend. I think that comes down to where you're from, your style, your lineage, what your teachers were like, you know, that makes a big difference. And, but I think if you take a look at Southern California, it's like we have martial artists from all over the world. Some of the best martial artists are here. You look at the Bay Area, you've got some of the best martial artists in the world. So if you take a look at the history of, let's say, Chinese Kung Fu, the masters that brought it over, you know, Bruce Lee gets a lot of credit, of course, you know, because he made it super big. But there's so many different masters that brought all the Kung Fu arts. For example, San Francisco Chinatown is one of the hotbeds of it all. And then you look at LA, you know, Guru Dan Asano, the Asano Academy, the Gracies, Ed Parker, Kempo, so the Filipino martial arts like Stockton. So to me personally, I think California is, I'm going to go out and say it, I've said it before, but I personally believe like California is probably one of the ultimate locations for martial arts in the world, because we have people from all over the world, and we had people from many different cultures come to California, and they were brought here as workers, right? So the Chinese, the Filipinos, the Gracies, like so many people came over here.
Korean town, you even got Korean town,
right? Japantown, the Japanese, and so you had so many different martial artists come over here there, and then of course you've got Hollywood over here. So the best, you know, that wanted to go into film and stuff like that, they gravitate towards Hollywood, right, and the TV shows and things that are like of that nature. But I think in general, you know, you don't need to go to other parts of the world anymore. You can just come to California and you'll find the best masters that you could find all in one state. You could drive up and down the state. You start in San Francisco with Professor HUNDON, hit Stockton on the way down, and come to Southern California, and you can get a taste of every different kind of art. Also, let's not forget MMA. If you look at MMA's development up in the Bay Area with regards to Strike Force, and it's the home of Bellator and stuff like that. And I mean, it's truly, I think, one of the greatest places where martial arts is developed, where it's come together from a traditional perspective, a street fighting perspective, a sport combat perspective. But going back to your earlier question, as Grandmaster Darren TIBON was talking about also, is that, you know, in martial arts, sometimes we get caught up in politics and things of that nature, and people get caught up in ways of doing things that are generational, and they're passed down generationally. And I think that we're living in a time where, I mean, you can see it with the Legacy event. Grandmaster Darren TIBON has brought together people from all different styles and systems that in FMA, and then other styles as well. But you would never have seen something like that happen like 20, 30 years ago. It wouldn't happen. And then now we're bringing together different Shirata masters. And I think at the end of the day, we live in the greatest era of martial arts because we have access. We have access to teachers. We have access to videos. I mean, if you look at the series that Professor HUNDON's put out and Grandmaster Darren TIBON's put out, you have access to information. So if you're a seeker of knowledge, that's what martial arts to me is about. I love it, man. It's about knowledge, about learning. I'm a student for life. You know what I'm saying? White belt forever, yo. The more I learn, I'll tell you, PStock, the more I learn, the more I realize how much shit I don't know. You know, you just keep growing, because if you're not growing, what's the point? You play basketball at a certain age, you can't play basketball anymore. Not in martial arts. It doesn't work.
Keep going. No, you keep going.
Right. You could keep growing. And then when you get a chance to see people from different styles come together, man, you could sit back and be like, oh, you know, my thing's better. Or you could sit back and be like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like the way he put his hand over there. I like the way he presented that over there. Damn shit. I like that move over there. I was doing it this way, but that's a different flair. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, they said the funny thing they said about Bruce Lee, right, was that if you steal from one person, they call you a thief, right? You steal from 7 people and you put it together, they call you an innovator. I mean, let's borrow. I mean, you know, I mean, that's martial art, though, right? Like, and if we're not experimenting and we're not growing, what's the point? What's the point? I mean, you know what I'm saying? What's the point about it? It's like, oh, I was a master 30 years ago, and then you're not growing anymore. What happened, right? So that's the beauty of it, you know. So I think
the growth, constant growth.
But you got to be around people that are promoting growth.
Yeah,
you got to be around people that are open to be sharing and avenues to share, so people can come up and share in a safe environment where, you know, you can you know, everybody's like down to get down, but they're also down to grow together, and that's the difference, right? Because there's a mutual respect. And I think it's really beautiful when that can happen.
That's big. That's big.
Yeah, it's one of my biggest experiences with the Legacy, you know, in general. bringing everybody together to share, you know, and to watch everybody, you know, their flavor, what their teacher gave them, what he focused on. That's beautiful to witness, you know. I mean, you look at a lot of these old teachers of where they came from. Let's say out of the Philippines to Hawaii to here, and then you see how martial artists might have changed the arts because they might have been living in East LA, they might have been living in Stockton or Honolulu, you know. And a lot of people changed, I believe, their arts to work for the environment they're in. And I think that's what I've seen, the evolution of FMA. Where these guys ended up, what they focused on their arts, to share their arts and make it self-defense. They teach their arts and their people will survive an attack. So, you know, analyzing my late grandmaster, Angel Caballas, and what he went through, the fights he got in, you know, in the Philippines, the fights he got in Alaska, and then what he really chiseled down, let's say his last 10 years of his life, on the kind of knowledge he wanted to pass to his last students. And to witness that, you know, I feel very honored and privileged, because we're looking at a man that left the Philippines barely 20 years old. And then he came here and had to live in an area supposed to be the land of milk and honey, man. There was signs of no dogs, no cats, no Filipino. Dealing with prejudice, you know, what was going on, you know, in that time here in America, here in Stockton, and to see how he evolved, you know. And I think as I get older, I look at that perspective more and more about my teacher, what he went through, and what was going through his mind on how he wanted to really fine-tune his art to pass on his knowledge. And, you know, it's a beautiful thing. I wish Angel would live to be 100 years old. I really do. But he did, you know, he passed away at 72. So the guys I came up with, you know, Master Jerry, Master Bigg, Sultan Dean, these are guys that I chiseled myself training with. And then where it took me as a teacher to pass on my knowledge. But, you know, you always got to give credit to them guys, man, from the beginning. You know, really give credit to them guys. You know?
I give it to them. You got to in that range. And going back to and on that topic too, and Professor James, your style now, I think it was you, Darren, I was saying, remind me never to volunteer for anything with Professor HUNDON. I see no demonstrations. No, I pass. You know, but the style that you trained, and you had it on the shows. No demonstrations.
I don't let him grab my finger.
Yeah. No demonstrations for PStock. No. You know, but I mean, it's that's interesting, you know, with the locks, you know, and your style that you developed, your own system. And I remember you talked about it, having that system and that style for like close combat. Like if you're tucked down and you're sitting at the Grammys and Will Smith does the Oscars and Will Smith does smack, and you gotta smack Chris Rock and you gotta get him under control. You know, but you know what I mean. So that's interesting how you evolved and developed that style over everything you did in your history of studying, and that's what you put together as a system.
Well, what happened being a part of the early competition right after the Bruce Lee era. Right. And you started competing and seeing what was going. Everything was about pretty much kick and punch, you know. And when Grandmaster Jay came out with a dynamic small circle and talking about finger locking it was, I mean, it was pretty much unheard of. Like everyone had a little bit of wrist locking, you know, some type of wrist lock throw, and you have judo and, you know, and jiu-jitsu, but small, you know, Grandmaster Jay in the small circle, jiu-jitsu was just something that was, it was beautiful to watch, but you start to wonder, how in the world is that beginning to happen? You know, how does he do that? So, you know, when I finally connected with Grandmaster Jay, I was just at that point. I think I had mentioned once before, I had gotten to a place in competition where, okay, the kick is the kick, the punch is the punch, and you know, you're learning all that. But what happens when you're in that tuxedo? What happens when you are dressed? You're at that 5-course dinner, you're out at the Grammys or whatever, and you're leaving and something crazy happens. You don't want to be waddling in the street or whatever. And that's what I really appreciate what I got from Grandmaster Jay, but also the other teachers that I started to look at and became part of my search. I mean, you have two of my main teachers right there, you know, and I've been in the arts for a minute, but SIFU HARINDER SINGH, that's my JKD instructor, you know, and then we have DARREN TIBON, that's my knock you in the head and bring bruises and you know, breaking joints. And then to be able to feel a part of that from what I feel from Grandmaster Jay and start to tie that in together, my approach, how I look at it, it just became a beautiful thing. On top of me going to New York for 8 years and being with Grandmaster Powell and all the, you know, and that whole family. I think one of the biggest things I see now is that a lot of the martial arts right now don't know who the John Natividads were. Some of them may not have known who Steve Muhammad was. I mean, I got a chance to witness and see all those guys fight in my early days. And I tell you, Steve Muhammad was just off the chain. And you got a chance to see him fight. I mean, this is where all the instructors used to fight. You know, the Bong Yus and the Sifu Bill Owens, John Natividads and Monster Man Everett Eddie and all these guys back there. You know, you say, well, who's that? And people like, I don't know, I ain't never heard. But those were the real cats that was putting it down. And to be able to understand where it came from, because you can go now and you can go to a place they specialize in 4 or 5, 6 different arts, and they're putting it together, and it's a masterpiece. But looking at the early pioneers that did that sacrifice, they're part of where it is right now, although they may not be around anymore. And right. I think the biggest part is a lot of these people that are training and they're seeking all this other knowledge. I think that's a part of a small level of disrespect, not knowing the history of things that they're looking, that they're doing, and maybe not knowing that one particular person may had a major influence or one of the bigger things that they may be doing now. You know, so, but yeah, I just absolutely went crazy after I started doing the finger locks, and then, you know, experiencing Dr. Moses Powell and that group in New York and that East Coast flavor, you know, and then looking for the JKD, and I'm with SIFU, and I mean, it was just, you know, so I mean, I enjoy. I'm like a kid still in a candy store, you know. It's like when I first met Master Jerry PRECIADO and DARREN told me it was, I was just like, wow, really? You know, when I hear the history of all of that back then, I was like, wow, man. And I think during that time I was on the East Coast, you know, I didn't know it was, you know, what Serrata was. and also hearing, like excuse me, like Darren was saying, you have all these other Filipino martial arts. I remember when I started in the Filipino martial arts, and someone told me about Serrata. A lot of people didn't want to talk about it. They says, "Oh, well, nobody really does that, or nobody really does this and that." And then you start getting into it, and you start seeing some of the baddest dudes out there are the cats that's doing Serrata. So it's like, okay, that's how I looked at capoeira. The same way. You have capoeira regional, you have capoeira Angola. You start hearing about capoeira Angola. So, well, what's Angola? Well, don't worry about the Angola. That's for old men. Yeah. You're gonna do the head. You're gonna do the regional. You're gonna do. But then you start to find out that the Angola is basically the real deal. That's the street. That's the real street stuff. You know. So it's like, oh, okay. But sometimes it's about how much of the roots was associated where. You know, where they looked at it like, okay, we're going to take that, but we're going to push this over here. And Angolan, I started messing around with Angolan, going, oh, yeah, that's the sneaky malandrage stuff right there. You know, that's the part where you say, oh, okay, you know, you have your hand around the cat's shoulder and you're telling, hey, how you doing? And he's going, oh, he's okay, but he doesn't see the razor in your hand. You know, the finger locking and putting all this other stuff into it, you know, insane dance of pain is what I call it.
You call it that.
Yeah, that's what I call it. That's what my video series is. And no matter what I end up adding to it, it's still going to be the insane dance of pain. Because we do start dancing and there's a lot of pain applied, you know.
Those locks hurt. You can tell. You can tell. You get one of them locks, boy, you better not even resist. You better start telling on your mama. Yeah, she over there. You know, one of those moves. She right over there. Yeah, you know. But yeah, I've seen it and I've witnessed it, and yeah, I can really, really see the need, and I've been looking at that as well. So it's great, you know, what all you guys bring to the table and everything, and your style, and like with Master Jerry Preciado and Darren TIBON with Angel, you know, me and Sultan Uddin used to sit back for hours, Grandmaster Sultan Uddin, to talk about the history. He knows the history. He goes to it. He knows because he did all the stuff. You know, he went to the Philippines. You know, he did. You know, he did that. You know, and he traveled the world. You know, he studied that, and some of the stuff I think Tasso Allo said on the show, one of our early episodes, that the capoeira he did at the opening scene of the Mortal Kombat series was like incredible, you know, which was all him. And we was talking about that, how he did all that stuff, you know. But like you said, studying, traveling the world, studying everything and taking every little bit. And that's why I think martial arts and hip hop goes so well together. You know, I had to squeeze that in there because hip hop, you know, it's like martial arts where you take a little bit of everything and make it your own, mush it up and make it your own.
A beautiful journey.
Beautiful
journey.
That's what it is.
Well, you know, when you take a look at it, though, right? Martial art is rhythm and poetry and motion.
Yes.
While somebody else is trying to disrupt it, and so you know, it's all about that flow. And you know, I think for me, hip hop has always been a big influence growing up, but the similarity is there. It's about creation, right? And as Professor HUNDON was saying earlier, you know, one of the things I appreciate about him is that his desire to learn is intoxicating. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just, and it rubs off on you. And if you can get something that does that for you, it's quite phenomenal. I still remember when he came to me and he was telling me about Grandmaster Darren TIBON. He's like, "Yo, man, no, you got to see these cats. You got to see a move." It's like, "SIFU, come on, man, let's go." And it was literally, and you know, I trusted. I said, "All right, let's go." And so we went, and that was when you were inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2014. And then the next day, I saw Grandmaster Darren TIBON with his son, and his team, and I didn't need to see more than 30 seconds, you know, because I mean, not even that. It's body mechanics don't lie. When you watch somebody move, you know, right? And that's the difference. It's the beautiful. Just like if you listen to somebody flow, you know, right?
Yeah.
You know, you can see if somebody steps up, the way they grab the mic, you know, the presence, you know, the way they command timing, the way they command space, the way they command the interaction with the audience. I mean, those things transfer directly over, right? It's timing, it's angles, it's distance, it's that interaction with the opponent. And then when you take a look at the other part of it about being a teacher is a presentation. Being a teacher, you're presenting to the audience, you're sharing your art to the audience. That's art in itself. Teaching is an art form in itself, because when you got a crowd, and if you got, like, you know, one of the things about the legacy events is beautiful, but you really have to be able to get your point across quickly. But not only that, you have a short opportunity to light a spark for the teachers and stuff, people who are, whoever's there attending your session. And I mean, that's an art form in itself. And like Grandmaster Darren TIBON said earlier, it's the best feeling in the world. I love to teach because it's my favorite feeling in the world, because of the interaction with the students. Because every time I teach, I actually grow watching them, and from their questions helps me grow. But the best feedback you can get in a loop is when you see the smile, when you see the, oh, you mean I need to do this instead of this? That's it. And the appreciation. And I mean, that's why we all really do it, right? And so, and it keeps us young. Look at these guys, man. I was like, what are you guys doing? They're like, Kung Fu, they do Sarada, they do martial arts. I'm like, okay, shit. That's the formula then, man. That's the ticket right there. You keep growing, keep training, you're going to stay young. And that's the truth of it, right? Like, you stop growing, and like a river, you put a dam in a river, it stops moving, it gets stale, everything in there dies.
That's real talk.
Angel would say, you know, as Angel got older, and he'd still want to show that he still had the strength. So he would either, you know, and I had to say it, but he'd pick on Darren because Darren was one of the bigger guys, you know. And he'd say, see, I'm still strong, you know. I'm still strong. See. While he's trying to put you on the ground, you know, you have your arm twisted back there and up in the air, and you know you had so much pain that you had to go down on the ground. But it was a pleasure for him to show that he still had the strength to put somebody on the ground without a problem.
And that's why I learned the hand-on-hand technique so well. Because he loved demoing with me. He really did.
Right. And that's the other beautiful part about it too, is that when you have that relationship with the teacher, it's an osmosis. They transfer to you, right? There's a transfer technology happening between teacher and student. And that's priceless, right? Like, when a teacher touches hands with you or sticks with you, every moment, every opportunity you get is beautiful, because they're transferring knowledge through to you. You know, you could see something, you could read about it, you could watch a video, but when they actually do it to you, that's I learned by getting it done on me, right? And like, you know, please, SIFU, grandmaster, teacher, all my teachers, do it to me, please. And they're like, are you sure? Yeah. Just provide me after, but do it to me, please, first. And you know, but I think it's a beautiful thing, right? Because martial arts really gives us access to the truth. The truth about ourselves, of who we really are. You can't hide. You can't call a friend. You can't pretend. This is a practical method of really discovering how you deal with an external stress force being placed upon you. And can you relax under pressure? Can you stay calm, cool, and collect? Because anybody could do it in a Zen garden. We could all go do it in a Zen garden. We could all go under a tree and do it. That's tough too. I'm not going to say that's not tough, but that's part of the training method. To then, can we find that state when the chaos is turned up? Can we find that state when the pressure is on us, and having great teachers that take you into chaos in a progressive way without breaking you but pushing you? That goes in everything in life. So if somebody says something to you outside, or you're dealing with difficulties, you're dealing with a job or a boss or bills or the pandemic, right? Whatever is happening, you're like, oh, it's all good, no problem. You're not going to react to those things. You'll respond. And there's a big difference, right? Because most people in the world, when something happens, they go, and then they react from a reactive pattern that's been installed in them. They don't have the ability to go time out, pause, take a breath, and I think I'm going to do this instead.
Right.
That's huge. That's huge. That's huge in the arts, man. So that's great. And the Legacy 9, and this is 2023, going into 2023. So I want to hear from everybody on the panel what's their goals and agendas for 2023. Let's start with you, Professor HUNDON.
Wow, 2023. Well, to keep getting better. I'm getting younger, so I want to keep getting better. Okay, I'll be this coming November. I'll be 75. So this book is still open. I keep learning. You know, there's so much out there to learn. So I don't have enough yet. You know, so I want to keep growing. You know, I got to get down there and see SIFU and spend some time with him. Let him jack me up a little bit. You know, and you know, and keep it going, and you know, spend time with my teachers. You know, because I know where I want to go now. You know, sometimes it takes a minute that you're searching on the path to go. I know where I want to go, and so doing that, you know, you have to travel sometime for knowledge.
Yes.
No, you have to go get it. It don't just come to you. You have to travel, and if you really love it, that's what you will do. You know, you set up the time permit, and you go, boom. Even if you say, well, I'm here for a day, you do that day. Well, I can come back again in a few months. You do that few months, but you come back. If you want it and you understand the value of it, you go get it. You know, so that's what I'm looking at for 2023, and perfecting more of my music, of course.
There it is. Hey, where can people catch you performing this year? Let people know. Give them a shout.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll get more in touch with you and let you know what's going on. Yes. Yeah.
Let people know. They might want to get out there in the area and see you and let you put a lock on them.
I doubt that one. Let's see, that's a music venture. See, if it goes to the lock side of it, something happens.
Something went wrong.
You know, something
right?
happened. Something went wrong. That means they're not enjoying themselves. You know,
something went wrong. Who got lost?
I'm trying to keep people smiling, and I'm trying to keep smiling. You know.
Yeah, we got you. Now, how about you, Harinder? You know, what's 2023 looking like?
Man, 2023 is a wonderful year. I think every year, every day is wonderful because we don't know when it's going to be our last. And so, you know, for me, growth and training is always been on the agenda for myself. But really, my focus this year is on empowering others to empower more people. If we can really empower teachers through martial arts to use self-defense as a self-development method, how can they bring not just the martial arts and the physical and the strategy and the tactics, but how do they get to a point where more teachers can be developed that can actually teach the philosophical and the life development skills and tactics that are there in a standardized set manner, so that regardless of their style or system, they could pass those traits on. You know, for me, there's combat tactics, there's philosophy in action, you know, and how can we combine those two together so that the people that we work with, the teachers that we work with, the students that we develop, that they can take those skills beyond the mats, beyond the dojo, out into the real world. Because the more confident people are, the less reactive people are, the better choices they make, not only in their own lives, but I truly personally believe that once we've learned who we truly are and have worked on ourselves, we can then set ourselves up in a position for God to use us, because we're here to be served. You know, we're here to serve, and the way to service is you got to sharpen your sword, because the divine doesn't want to use a dull sword. So at the end of the day, if we could do that, and that's the real message of martial arts. It's given me everything I have. The gentlemen you see on here, I mean, they're inspirations to me, and my teachers. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them. And so I truly believe in the life transformational human potential of the martial arts. And if we can bring the self-development part of it in a more standardized way through the training, so self-development through self-defense, we can help a lot of more people.
That's huge. That's huge. Very big. Very big. How about you, Jerry?
You know, I like what they're what's being said. You know about the joining of the groups, and you know, I'm from the old school, and so I have to kind of come out and say it. You know, I'd like to see some of the old masters that we came up with that kind of might have well, they feel they didn't miss out on some of the stuff that we actually received towards the end of Angel's life and his training. I would love to see some of the old masters. There was only so many of us that didn't come out and show us, or they can kind of see what we can do or what we learned. And instead of them being part of the frame of a picture, they can be in the picture. And I think that that would be something I'd look forward to. That would be, to me, a big joy before we do leave this earth. And because I'd like to see it, besides them having a video at home and having a one person trained or something like this, but maybe they can actually come out and join us one day.
Mm-hmm. That's big. And Jerry, you're like the Ken Burns of Angel's disciples, man. You have the photos and the video stuff to back up everything, man.
Yes, and I held back from putting that out because it's been so many years. You know, it was training. With us as masters, the masters that came up under Angel, the footage of all that. We exceeded that. We're beyond that now. A lot of those videos of Darren training. These are of Sultan training. Wade Williams training, Frank training. Everybody is as training as we were as one. We were like a good running unit, and now there is kind of the second hands are broke off the clock, and I don't know if they feel that they're better than the people that came up and trained with, and they want to stand out, or if there's something that would cause them to run off and create their own styles, but. It would be a joy to see them back. I don't want to plan on putting the video footage out because some of it would be kind of funny videos compared to what they're capable of doing now.
Mm-hmm. That's big. I got you. You know, or you could do something for them personally. You know, a take back. You know, and stuff like that instead of holding on to it now in memorial of. In memoriam of. After the fact, let it out and let it be seen. But it's great, and of course, Grandmaster Darren TIBON, what does 2023 look like for you, sir? I know it's a lot going on.
I think it's going to be fantastic. It's already been fantastic, okay? But I'm going to continue to create opportunities and share, and hopefully all my students continue to grow. And that's big on my list right there. Mm-hmm. Positive growth, okay, mm-hmm. And future legacies. I get more FMA out there, aboard the legacy, and continue to share this legacy. But at the same time, continue to work on my chapters, my affiliates, and make sure they continue to grow with the owner. And I really want to do that this year. Matter of fact, today was one of my biggest classes I've had in probably 3 months. And we all got together, and it was great seeing them all. And then seeing my grandson grow, some of my other kids grow. They're all tall men now, getting taller. My grandson's only 13, but oh man, he got up in height. And I want to see him grow, of course. But to watch his training partners he came up with, the Vocal brothers, some of the newer students growing, that's where I really find enjoyment, to watch the students grow. And I want to see all my people grow with quality, and I think this year is going to be fabulous. I really do.
That's big, you know, and that's what we like, you know. And we're gonna be back, you know. Take a good look. These gentlemen will be back on time for time. You know, look for them on iHipHop even coming up, you know, that's coming up, you know, so get some things going, you know. So this is the thing that the martial arts, you know, it's a pleasure having all you guys on here, talking to you guys all the time. You know, it's all always insightful, enlightening, you know, and just, you know, very informative, you know, always leaving the viewers with something, you know, that makes them want to come back. Like you said, that want to learn more. We like that. That's what we're going to strive for, to get people. And we're going to send as many people your way as we can. You know, that's our thing. We're going to fund it. You got to check out James HUNDON. He get a hold of them. He lock you, you're done. You know, you get locked up. You go check out HARINDER. You go check him out. You know, he gets down. You know, everybody. So we like that. Spread it out, get the balance, and introduce, especially younger minds, younger people that will develop and grow along, and hopefully, you know, become faithful students. That's what we try. That's what we try. All right.
Okay, brothers. Hey,
All right.
see you at
All right. Take care.
Pleasure having you. We're going to stay in touch.
All right.
Legacy
Jerry, good to see you.
Great.
All
to
right,
see you.
SIFU.
Good seeing you,
All right.
Professor. Great seeing you, Master Jerry. GM
All
TIBON.
right.
And
All right.
All right,
You guys
guys.
Well,
come
thanks,
up-
PStock.
Peace and blessings.
You chasing him, man.
And that's how we do it. You know, this has been another great Address the Culture. Smash the like button, subscribe, leave comments below. FMA Legacy, you know, Angels, Disciples, Stockton, you know, Chapter, you know, Bigg, Grandmaster DARREN, TIBON, and the crew. That's how we do it. Big shout out to Aladdin 19, putting it all together, making it happen. Big shout out to all our followers, our subscribers, all the FMA people, you know, and keep us locked. Stay tuned, you know, and just keep us sign up and hit that alert button. So when they drop, you will know, you won't miss it, you know. But definitely, you know, make sure this is Address the Culture, you know, make sure that, you know, your culture is a part of you and what you have, and make sure people respect it. And that's what we're here to do, Address the Culture. I'm your man, PStock.